Welcome to PWS United, a podcast for the Prader-Willi syndrome community, brought to you by PWSA USA. This podcast gives the latest news in research, advocacy, and family support by bringing together staff, volunteers, PWS treatment specialists, biotech and pharmaceutical representatives, caregivers, family members, and individuals with PWS. Our goal is to share education, awareness, and resources with those living with PWS and their supporters. Join us in our mission to enhance the quality of life and empower those affected by Prader-Willi syndrome. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of PWS United. Today, we're reflecting on Direct Support Professionals Week, which took place between September 8th and 14th. This week was dedicated to honoring the incredible individuals who provide essential care and support to those living with developmental disabilities, including PWS. In this episode, our CEO, Stacy Ward, leads an important discussion on the history and significance of this week and how direct support professionals continue to make a difference in the PWS community. Joining Stacy are four remarkable experts. We have Patrice Carroll from Latham Centers, Nicole Tingley from Homes, Lynn Garrick from AME Community Services, and Marguerite Rupnow from Prader-Willi Homes. Together, they'll share how their organizations celebrated the week and continue to highlight the vital role direct support professionals play in enhancing lives every day. Now, let's join the conversation.
Thank you guys for joining us today. Why don't we start with you, Patrice? You can introduce yourself and what you do at your agency.
Great. I'm really happy to be here, especially talking about this topic. My name is Patrice Carroll. I'm the director of PWS Services at Latham Centers.
Thank you. And Lynn, how about you go next and tell us who you are?
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Lynn Garrick, and I am a program director at AME Services, and I'm also the nurse for our Prader-Willi Homes.
Thank you. And Marguerite?
I am Marguerite Rupnow. I am the health and wellness specialist for Prader-Willi Homes. And thank you so much for having us here and talking about this amazing topic.
Thank you. And Nicole?
I am Nicole Tingley. I am an administrator with Homes Network in Illinois, and I help oversee 33 group homes, 2 of those in which serve the PWS population.
Fantastic. Thank you guys for being here. This topic, National Direct Support Professional Week, I think is just so important. And I'm really excited to talk with you guys about what that means for each of your organizations and how you celebrate that. Could somebody start by giving us a little history on the significance of National Direct Support Professional Week and how that came to be?
It's kind of surprising how it was not recognized for quite some time because of the amazing work that our staff do, direct support professionals, the names they've gone through the years. But it actually became a recognition week in 2008. But it wasn't until 2013 that the National Direct Support Professionals Recognition Week was sponsored in the United States Senate and actually had 35 state governors that agreed to it. So, I mean, in reality, it's not very old for as long as what people have been supporting individuals throughout the decades. So
actually a little
it's
bit
really
shocking.
Yeah.
It is. And additionally, what's even more shocking is that the Direct Support Professionals Recognition Act, which is an act that aims to bring contributions of DSPs and the need for adequate support, training, and fair wages, that act has been brought in front of Congress several times and has never been passed into law. So something that I think we as a community could rally behind and try to get that moved forward, because it's not an official law yet, but there is an act that's gone in front of Congress on a number of occasions.
That's actually a really great point, and something that I think that we should be adding to our advocacy efforts as an organization.
I agree.
And pulling
Yes,
it out of the
definitely.
community.
Definitely.
So we all talk about, the term DSP and National Direct Support Professional Week, but over time, what that role has been called something different. Could you guys share for, the community that may not hear that title in that way, who we're actually talking about?
We're talking about the gears of our organizations. They're the ones that keep everything rolling. They're caregivers, they're listeners, they're activity planners, they're doing first aid. They wear many hats, and what they bring to the homes and the individuals they serve is irreplaceable. Their constant dedication and work ethic is, it doesn't go unnoticed. And I think that it's grown as our populations have aged. The roles have expanded with more expectations of different maybe medical needs and things, with medical advances, and our populations living longer. But yeah, I always say they wear many hats. No 2 days are the same. Every day is a new adventure.
Yeah.
They bring the culture to the home and the environment that, the individuals thrive in every day. So.
Yeah. And on top of everything that Nicole just said, and on top of everything that they do, they're also advocates who help people with disabilities achieve self-actualization, exercise their rights, and achieve their goals. So they work on so many different levels. Marguerite, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. I've been doing this for 37 years. And so when I first started, my title was child care technician.
Wow.
What the heck that meant, I have no
I
idea.
remember
but
that. I remember that title. Yep.
That what I see is the duties that have changed over time is when we used to, years ago, it was really just about supervision and care, but care in a different way, that it had more of a parental mindset,
Yes.
cause and effect,
Yes.
approaches, consequences, natural and just consequential. But they've really changed over time. It's supervision and care, but now we use support as a word instead of care. When you talk about support, it's more of a partner role. It's engaging them. It's a companion. It's a counselor. It's those type of things that our individuals need. They're involved in everything, helping them where they live, where they play, being part of their communities. I mean, we've seen the rule of the HCBS come in, and about the push to have people in the communities and about what their rights are. And is what Patrice was talking about, is how much it has really changed to, the role of our direct support professionals is more than just doing hygiene and making sure that they are getting fed and doing some activities with them. These guys are nurses, coaches, counselors, companions, cheerleaders. They're doing everything from being the taxi driver to cooking the meals. They have so many hats, as like what Nicole talked about. And they are the pulse of our organization. They're the front line. They are the ones that do the work. And they're the ones that catch something's off with this person. And it may be because they are not feeling well. And because we know with our population that we support, their illnesses can look very different than maybe somebody traditional. And it's them. Something's just off with them. And then you end up finding there is something, actually, they need to go to the hospital. There is something wrong with them. And so I can't speak highly enough of the people that work with our individuals, because they're just simply amazing.
I would echo that, just that they're the lifeblood, and it morphed from a maybe, checking off boxes as tasks to really these support partners, but also, speaking as not only a provider, but a parent from somebody that receives services, the partnership that I rely on the DSP staff to be me, basically. I'm 24/7. And because I can't be there, they are there for my son. They help him. And because of that, my family is able to work, to have social lives. I don't think it's recognized enough, the importance that DSPs have on the entire family unit and the community. Without DSPs, I certainly wouldn't be here. I would be at home, taking care of my son full time. But now I'm able to work. My kids are able to have friends and social lives and other activities. Because for some individuals, that need that support, that really inhibited the family unit. So it's life changing. And I don't think DSPs recognize that enough, that they are integral to not only the person that they are there to support, but the families too.
That's
Such a good point. That's
It is.
really, really good point. And even beyond that, I think that when DSPs are recognized and supported, it strengthens the entire community by promoting inclusion and diversity throughout. So we're not just talking about a DSP working in a group residence and how much it affects the individuals that live there, and it does, but we're talking about how much it affects the family, the community, and then society as a whole. These are absolutely
Definitely.
vital workers in our society.
And I think to echo what you were talking about, Lynn, I remember talking to one of our parents, and they were saying it was the first time they were sitting down. It was a new family to our organization, and they said I could actually be a parent. I could enjoy my child.
Yes.
And that brought tears to my eyes, and they were crying of just, sitting around the table, and they were a family unit. It wasn't that they were having to focus so heavily on caring for their child. They could actually just enjoy.
Yes, I love that. I've heard that before, where someone has said, I can just be mom again.
Yeah, which is an amazing gift. And for some of us, especially for myself, I think probably saved my son's life. Food security with other children and in your own home when you're tired. His weight was increasing, behaviors are increasing, and that consistency and structure, I truly believe saved his life. So it's just an incredible partnership, and that just has really benefited John. It's been amazing. DSPs are phenomenal.
Yes.
I think it's important to note that, people can work anywhere, and you're working as a DSP and you're struggling with low wages, high stress, incredible emotional demands. But the fact that you'd show up every day, just show up, you are saving someone's life. Just showing up, not to mention all the stuff that you do on top of that. But the individuals that we work with, if it weren't for DSPs, and would be in one of three places. They'd be in a locked psychiatric unit, they'd be in jail, or they'd be dead.
Yeah.
And the fact that you, are showing up to work, you are saving their lives every single day just by being there. Go ahead, Lynn.
They really have, I like to say, a heart, not just a heartbeat, right? I just don't need people to show up with a heartbeat. Our folks have a heart. They're in it.
Yes.
Like you said, not because of the wages or the prestige or whatever. They're here because they care and they make such a difference to everyone's lives.
Yeah. And they save lives every day just by being there.
I've always had this vision of agencies like yours changing your organizational chart. So instead of your CEO or your board of directors being at the top, the person you support is at the top, and then the next level is the DSP. And it goes the opposite way. Because
and everyone's supporting them.
Yes. What we find across the board is from a hierarchy, a recognition, a compensation perspective. That's not how it looks. But imagine if we changed that. And would that change the way that DSPs are recognized? Could it help us in movements like having the act passed or increasing wages if we took that kind of approach? I did not mean to interrupt you. Please go ahead. Sorry about that, Marguerite. Or was it Marguerite or Nicole?
Okay. Nope, we're good. I think we hit on it. My point is that our DSPs sometimes don't see the day-to-day because they're in it day-to-day. They don't see the big picture of what they are making a difference from somebody that's really had struggles initially, their weight. And you don't see it day to day, but when you have a step back and look at that relationship they formed has stopped maybe a situation from escalating up because they were able to have a conversation and they have that relationship with that individual. And I just think that it's sometimes for DSPs because they're in it so much they can't see the impact that they have on the people that they support, and it is just immense. That day-to-day show up is part of it, but it's when you take a step back and really look at you're saving their lives, just like what Patrice said. And as an agency, and we all have different roles and administrator roles, that type of thing, is we wouldn't be working. We wouldn't have a job if it wasn't for them because they're doing the work. And they make a
Great
difference.
point.
They're the ones that are changing the individual's lives every single day.
Yeah.
So what are some of those unique challenges that direct support professionals face?
The stress, high turnover, lack of training.
For some individuals, that's verbal and physical aggression towards the
Yes,
DSP
yes.
staff, which is tough to keep coming back day after day. But definitely, it's a high stress environment.
I think as you speak with like the lower pay, Illinois just passed an increase for our DSPs, and that was a huge task for us to get completed. It was a $2.50 hour raise.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And
That's
so
significant.
Yeah. So we, I know on our forefront in Illinois, like we push hard, for those wages, for the Illinois. But I think too, I just wanted to get back to like the heart of the DSP. Like we save their lives, but I think staff too, they don't realize how much the individuals are going to change their life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Great point,
Absolutely.
Nicole. Great point. Love
It
it.
definitely is a life-changing kind of career. And that's what I like with the DSP. I want this to be a career. I want you to feel comfortable and confident in what you do,
Yes.
serving the individuals, because it is difficult day in and day out, going into the trenches, not knowing how you're going to come out at the end of that 8-hour shift, but then putting your hat back on and coming back in the next day and tackling the task at hand. But I think training is key to help build the confidence of the staff to be able to advocate and to be able to feel comfortable to handle the situations. I know we've learned a lot as an agency. We're probably the newest agency here on this podcast, and so we've grown a lot in the 5 years that we've been operating the PWS Homes, and I think training is key to get your staff to be comfortable and confident. And it's fun for us to see when we bring training in of how good the staff have been doing, because we're in it every day, that we don't see the positive things of weights going down and, behaviors decreasing because we're finally, figuring out the triggers and, different things. But that's all of the staff being able to document and give us that information to feedback, but always bringing in that third party to look at things and say, hey, you're doing a good job. And then, taking that back to our DSPs to say, like, we're doing it, guys. Like, you're doing this. Like, is always great. So,
From an outside perspective, Nicole, I would just share, yes, you are the newest organization joining us, but one of the most inspiring things to have watched from the outside with you and your team is how willing you have been to learn and how invested you are. I mean, when your admin is invested, your staff are invested.
Absolutely.
And
and we see this
as
far as training goes. So all of our agencies are established and we have established trainings and people who know what they're doing. But when you have either a newer agency or a smaller agency that isn't trained, one of the things that happens is the staff aren't trained. The individuals are going to automatically have more behaviors and struggles and anxiety because they're not working with people who understand them. The staff get frustrated because they're dealing with all these things and nothing they do works because they're not doing the right thing, and then they leave.
Yep.
So it's just kind of this circle,
Vicious cycle.
Yeah, this perfect storm of not having staff. And you can get on top of that with appropriate and consistent training. You see the behaviors go down. Staff want to come to work. They see success. They see what they're doing is working and they want to do more of it. So that piece about training, I cannot speak to enough.
And I hope that, we've been having conversations of our provider group having opportunity for other providers to join in, that we are able to have conversations because we have these conferences and these opportunities, but not everybody can attend. And so having these open to whoever would like to be able to join to pick our brains that maybe have been doing it a little bit longer, or even Nicole, you've been doing it a shorter time. You can actually talk to what it's been like through changes and how training is an important part. But when, we just attended a provider conference, thank you, PWSA, for putting that on for us, that there's a lot of providers that have only a couple people. It's not a dedicated PWS home. And a non-dedicated PWS home creates a whole lot of different challenges for that DSP
Yes.
than it does because of that food security, the structure, the things that we know are needed for individuals to be successful and to bring that anxiety down. It's so important for them to have that piece that we've just been talking about, that training, that opportunity to pick somebody's brain and the challenges that they are facing, and that we maybe face too, but we can give them some tips.
Sure.
And that helps then if that staff stay and that relationship continues to grow, that means the individual is going to grow. And
such a good point.
So I can't speak highly enough for how important that is. That
great point
we just talked about.
Yeah. Now, we just talked about, some of the unique challenges that direct support professionals face. How does National Direct Support Professional Week address those, and does it?
It's nice to have it as a week and not just a day, that they actually can have multiple days of having different things occur for them.
I don't think it goes on long enough. It should be DSP like years, right? Every day is DSP day, that we really need to make sure that we're recognizing the really good work that they do. Yes, this week is amazing, and we can really hone in on this specific week, but it is that day-to-day reassurance and thanks, and, thanks for showing up and building in those little rewards and attaboys. And it doesn't have to cost money, but that really goes a long way to staff retention, which obviously we just talked about, leads to just overall cohesion within the home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've been told by a DSP that they, I've told them thank you. Or one of my favorite things to do is when they walk in the door for work, I'm like, welcome to work, and they look at you like, what? And I'm like, thank you for coming to work today. Like,
yes.
Or, whenever I leave a home and have addressed an issue, or, just pop in to check in, I always thank them. I find the positives of what's going on in that home, because there's so many more positives than negatives. And just telling them thank you goes a really long ways, like you said, Lynn, or an attaboy, that is, I'm always starstruck, I guess, when they're like, no one's ever said thank you to me. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's hard, you guys, because we ourselves are in those trenches too. And you just get so day-to-day bogged down that you forget to stop and to say a simple thank you, which goes so long.
Yeah. One of the things that we've done, sorry, Patrice, one of the things that we did, and it kind of goes off of what Lynn had talked about earlier, is I asked families to submit videos thanking the staff.
Yes, amazing.
And there were lots of tears on both sides.
Yes.
But hearing it from the family's perspective, because they hear it from us, maybe not enough, but different ways than just a thank you, I think is so important. Is like I said,
you bring up a really good point about families. So we had something similar where we had families write in. And what we ended up doing was we took all those quotes and made a big poster and hung them up all over so staff could see it. The other thing that has been really cool in the past is we've had our parent community donate money for things that the staff might need, lockers in the break room. We had a parent who one year said anyone who worked at Latham could go get either breakfast or lunch at this restaurant that was nearby that only does breakfast and lunch. And then he picked up the tab.
Nice.
So that was amazing. So for one day, like before or after your shift, go grab a meal, say you're from Latham, and it's covered. So bringing the families into this really makes a difference too, because we can do the shout outs, and we do. So we do weekly shout outs for staff, more so during this week, raffle baskets, things like that. But when you can do things kind of throughout the year, it makes a really big difference, and getting your families involved can really go a long way with staff, because it means something. Like Marguerite said, it means a lot.
I agree. It doesn't work without the parents and the guardians and the family and the good relationships that we form. And these simple ways can help. Yeah.
Yeah. I can remember being a DSP, and the organization I was working for doing some of that good job, attaboy thing only during DSP week. But hearing from and I would think to myself, whatever, you're just doing it because you have to. But having a family take time to single somebody out and say, we appreciate you. And give that specific praise or response to something that was done, or the impact that you have had on their child specifically, I think goes a long way. So to what you're all saying, having parents get involved and not just the agency recognizing DSPs, I think will go a long way towards decreasing some of the turnover that you guys were talking about as well.
Yes,
It's
definitely.
it's a soul and a heart feeling thing that you don't typically get if you're just behind a computer doing something. It's these really personal thank yous and stuff that fills your heart and really does keep you coming back to.
Yeah, that's a great point. So along the lines of, in those moments, National DSP Week is really about recognizing the staff. Could we as an organization, or how could we as an organization use that week to maybe do something on a bigger scale that would support all DSPs across the country? Is there something that we could do that would have a larger impact, that down the road, that impact makes lives easier?
Getting the DSP Recognition Act
Yep.
made into law. That would do it.
All right.
Advocacy, elevating DSPs to, like a certified level in each state, like certified nursing assistants, having that be a career path and destination. Maybe that starts when you're in high school and it can lead to other career, but, elevating that DSP role.
I love that.
Giving them more respect for the job that they're doing.
Right. They do the same stuff.
Yeah, but don't treat them as professionals.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody do you have plans, not to ruin for your staff, maybe who don't know what your plans are yet, but do you have anything planned for DSP Week? And are there any creative or special things that you've done in the past that might be helpful for other agencies to hear?
We have each department put together a really cool basket, different things, like the clinical team did like a mindfulness basket, and then finance team did like an out to eat basket, and we raffled that off throughout the week. So each department puts together a pretty cool big basket to be raffled off. So that's neat.
That is.
And then personalized notes from supervisors and managers.
Yep.
We have the residents of each home write thank yous to the staff.
Oh, I love that.
And then we have them.
That's awesome, Lynn.
Yeah, create videos too, thanking the staff, and I like you because, and then that plays on the TV or in the office throughout the day, throughout the week.
Awesome.
Yeah, we had our guys this year make a pocket hug, which was a little heart that they designed and decorated, and it said, "Here's a little heart from you, from your residents to you. It's filled with love and big hugs too. Thank you for what you do every day."
I love that. That's really
I
great.
love that. That's awesome.
We're doing a Snappy Gift. So there's a website that you're able to set a limit, and then they're able to pick what gift they want. So we're not doing like a mass, t-shirt for just everybody, because maybe someone doesn't want a t-shirt. So they're able to pick what gift they want, and then that just ships right to their home. And then
making that individualized. That's really cool.
It's really cool.
And then we do the raffles too. So we have baskets that we raffle as well. So that's always fun. Yeah.
And it's terrible because of the people that we support, but we are doing a tote bag with our company logo on it, but it's filled with goodies like Starburst, and it says and having fun little signs like "I'm bursting with appreciation," or a trail mix that says, "Thank you for leading us down the trail of success. We appreciate you."
Yep.
So
that's great.
You're all that in a bag of chips kind of thing.
Yeah.
I love it. Is anybody, or have you ever taken the opportunity to use this week to either contact media or do a press release about the importance of DSPs and just kind of making that a little bit broader in your local communities?
I mean, we do things on social media. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
But again, that's our community oftentimes is the social media versus trying to the wider community that our folks live in and that our staff work in and where they live as well. I think that'd be a really great concept. I mean, we all had the Heroes Work Here signs during COVID, that type of thing that brought some recognition to them. But yeah, I think that's a great idea. I was thinking about what you were asking, is there things that PWSA could do, is we could also submit people that we feel have made a difference, and you guys put it on your social media with their picture and just a little tidbit about them. And, maybe we can't pull it off by September 8th, but for maybe next year is where agencies submit their DSP.
I love
recognition.
that.
Wouldn't it be great?
And we
to
run
have
it all
a-
month.
Yeah, DSP of the year. We submit this from all the submissions, and then they're offered to go to the next providers conference or the national conference next year.
That's awesome, Lynn.
And they're highlighted. Yeah,
You know, we may not be able to pull it all off by September 8th, but we could certainly launch something recognizing DSPs during DSP week. You know,
Love it.
We have a parent-run transition group that is looking at kind of the transition out of school into what do adult supports look like, and really trying to find the best supports for their children and how to get them. And they've been looking for ways to bring advocacy into some of their efforts. And I think, you know, kind of partnering with this group around the Direct Support Professional Act and some of those other things might be a great way to bridge that gap and also help families who aren't utilizing services build some trust. I do think we went from, you know, coming out of Willowbrook and the fear around some of the horrific things that occurred to then these smaller community residences kind of being the norm and people being really great about that, back to a little bit more fear around placing your child again with the increase of, you know, social media and internet and the one-off stories that it's not.
I totally got that.
It's not the everyday occurrence in a group home, but when it hits the media, it appears as it is. So it would help build some of that trust. I think
that's so important to build that trust, to lessen that fear, but then also partner with these parents because there are other opportunities, not just the traditional residential model, but there's all sorts of opportunities that we would love to start with parents. And they don't have to be scared. It can be an amazing, life-changing, great place that their children are fulfilled and happy and engaged.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Awesome.
And I think providers too can also be just like a wealth of resources for families too. Even if you're not just, I mean, I always, whenever I'm, you know, talking with families, like, of course I'm want to educate them about my group home setting, but there's so many other resources out there too that many families just don't know about. And and you're just building that rapport, you know, with them by sharing information and resources. So I think that's super important.
That's a great. We are the ones that know about the waivers, how to do this, how to work some of the programs, the day programs that are good. You know, we are a wealth and we could share that in a more meaningful way with the community.
A great point.
Yes.
Are there any success stories that you guys would want to kind of share about any of the direct support staff that you've worked with over the years? You know, they do so many incredible things every day. And I am sure there's, you know, thousands and thousands of stories that you can share, but anything that you want to highlight or, you know, things that they just do every day that people may not realize how incredible it is?
You know, I think that, there's countless stories. Every day there's a story, but I think my favorite one is we recently had a young man who, when he first came to us, all he wanted to do was ride a horse. That's all he wanted to do. He was over the weight limit for the horseback riding program. And then when he finally got to it, and he finally was able to get on that horse, the staff were crying. Like, he was excited, the staff around him and everyone, they still talk about it. Like, he got to ride a horse. It was as if they themselves hit that goal and they were able to ride the horse. That's how excited they were about it. And it was just an awesome, awesome thing to see how excited they were for this young man to reach that goal. It wasn't their goal, it was his goal, but they celebrated as if it was their own. And I think about that all the time.
That's amazing. And it really speaks to Nicole's point about, you know, going into this field changes your life as well.
Yes,
it does.
We had an individual that never at home would get dressed, was always unclothed, refused to go to school, could not be brought into public because of behavioral issues. And because of the great work of the staff, started going to school, graduated, got a job, is an active member of the community. And it was just, we talk about it all the time. Wow, this is because we partnered together with, everyone. And this has changed this man's entire life. He would have never left the home had it not been for the support and the teamwork that happened.
That's incredible. I love that.
We have a young man that was so heavy to the point where he needed to be hospitalized in Texas for a period of time. And I had gone down to assess if he was appropriate for placement with us. He was coming from another state. And he's going back home to his home state. He's gotten to the point where he's in a good place. And last week he came up to me and gave me a hug and just said, "Thank you for saving my life."
Oh,
And
amazing.
those are those moments that
Wow.
you just go, "Oh my gosh,
Yep.
I'm a puddle right now."
Yeah.
He was doing it to the staff. It isn't just me, but it's those moments that you think, "Holy cow!" And he's going to be
Yeah.
closer to his family and the friends that he had, and the success that he has made here is phenomenal. You just can't even put into the words of just that type of goal. Also, is that they're able to return home, and sometimes it's not. We're long-term facilities.
Sure.
Oftentimes, but you have states that have picked up providers that are willing to enter into the PW space. And so how can we help them be successful?
Yep.
That's our role also, because we want that individual to continue to have live their best life. I think that's why a lot of us are here, is we want to make sure that they are living the best life they can.
Mhm.
And you see it when they are dating and they never had
Yeah.
friends and people
Yep.
picked
Yeah.
on them and they have a community. And I swear to God, our guys have more social life than I do.
100%. Yeah.
Yep.
They're always doing something. And you just see it in the smiles and the hugs. I always say, once you get a individual with PWS hug, you never ever have to feel
Yep.
bad, because it's like
Yep.
best hug ever.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know we all have stories. I'm going to share one more because I think it's so poignant that we had a resident move in with us who could not walk more than 10 feet, was told that this person was going to die because of the obesity. We had to remodel the home, widen doorways, reinforce floors. It was that bad. This individual lost so much weight that they were able to go back to school, complete their master's degrees, and now moved out of our program and is living, with supports in her own apartment. It's
Amazing.
That is
just
awesome.
to be able to affect someone's life, even in a small ways like that. Holy cow, that's crazy. We do a lot of good work.
Yes. Yes.
And it's those DSPs that are in it every single day.
Yep.
And that's the bigger picture. They don't always see it in the day to day, but when you sit back and you look at this using these stories to be able to communicate of the success, and it's them. They're the lifeblood. They're the pulse of our organization.
Our superheroes.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
they
Our
are our
superheroes.
superheroes.
Yes.
Nicole, you looked like you were going to share something.
Oh, I do. I have a success story that's in the making, but so much progress has been made. An individual came to us. He was not able to bear weight due to gaining some weight. And so he was wheelchair bound, did some advocacy and ended up in an electric wheelchair, which I was terrified for. But he has proven to continue working on his upper body strength and is building muscle, and with the diet, is losing weight. So we're in the right track, and he's able to have that independence and mobility. So that was, I know, life-changing for him to be able to have that mobility back with the chair. And he's kept to his promise of working on his guns, as he calls them. And we've joked that we're going to have to start, measuring them because they're getting so large. So I think we're going to start measuring them to see our progress. But
That's so much fun.
that's one of our many stories. But that's been fun to watch him, gain that independence again. So
Yeah. I have a story from my days back as a provider, which feels like it was yesterday, although it's been quite some time now. We had an individual whose girlfriend did not get her services through our agency. But they went to day program together, and, he would come home every day and talk about how he wanted to live with her. And, the staff, all of this came because of the direct care staff listening and then helping him advocate. So when someone left their house and there was an opening, they advocated and worked with his girlfriend's family and team to have her move in with them. So,
Amazing.
In the duplex, he and his now girlfriend or that girlfriend were on one side and the other two housemates were on the other side. And, with some time, they really worked to help them have the relationship that they wanted. So, things like getting married was something that was very, very important to them.
Yep.
However, would have resulted in some significant financial consequences, which is a different advocacy discussion that we'll have at another time. So the staff worked with the two of them to create their own commitment ceremony and invite the people that they wanted and had their wedding without the official.
That's beautiful.
For them to have exactly what they chose everything. And it was one of the most beautiful things that I had the privilege of witnessing. And when all of the admin and the clinicians found reasons for why this might be difficult and why we shouldn't do this, the staff kept pushing for this is what they want. And that's who we're here for. And that is the difference that DSPs make.
Absolutely.
I love that.
It was beautiful. Well, before we go, is there anything else that you guys would like to share about any, DSPs that you've worked with or the week coming up? Any last thoughts?
I think that I'd just like to highlight that we have a few DSPs that have worked for us for over 35 years.
Wow.
So they've dedicated their lives to the individuals that we serve. And it's just remarkable. I mean, their knowledge and experience that they have is just unmatched, of course, but it's so fun to, go back in memory lane of, everything they've experienced and all the transitions and, within the agency. It's fun to experience that with them. And, we recognize our DSPs who have been here over 10 years. We have a t-shirt that's a lifer t-shirt. So when you hit your 10-year mark, we mail you a t-shirt that says, DD Homes Lifer. And we
that's great.
do our best to mail stuff to personal addresses. So like it's, surprise mail they get. But that's something that's been fun and has been a hit with our staff getting their Lifer shirts. So it's a kind of a deal.
I like that.
I love
That's
that.
fun.
I just want to say a big thank you to all of the DSPs nationwide, worldwide, that make a difference every day to so many lives.
A great point. We're talking mostly about those DSPs who are working in the residential setting, but there's so many DSPs working in so many other settings that deserve the same amount of recognition. And, they don't always get it either. So,
and you have people that are supporting job coaches and they're not a DSP.
Good point.
But they're in there supporting somebody that has needs, and they don't have a dedicated week because it's not a DSP. But you have vocational assistants, you have people that are in our day habs and day programs. They should have a call out as well of the amazing work that they do.
Yes.
And from PWH lifer, thank you. I have seen so many relationships form, best friends, marriages, because of what we do. People don't understand it. They don't get it. And then they find their significant other with us or best friend. My best friend is somebody that I worked with, and we have been friends for 35 years.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Just even doing something like this is starting to elevate the role, giving the role the respect that it deserves. I was a DSP for a very long time. There is no job that's better and there's no job that's harder. But my best memories are from the years that I was working direct care. And I would do it again in a heartbeat. Or just the utmost respect for the people doing this job.
I feel very much the way you do. I often say that my current job is the best job I've ever had in my life. And I love my job, but the most rewarding job I've ever had was as a DSP.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Those are the best memories. The ones that you have. Those are the ones that when you're thinking about something and you're going through old pictures and you see that and you were like, oh my gosh, that was like an awesome time that you did this with this group of individuals and how much fun you had. And, as we see our population aging, it's hard at times because as we all are getting older, I say I've grown up with a lot of the people we support. I've had a lot of life events with them, and there is nothing. They are part of my family.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. I always say there's no way they're getting older because I'm not getting older.
I did think it was really interesting at the Professional Provider Conference last week when someone said, it's hard to see them aging because we're aging with them.
Right.
We're
Yes.
going through it at the same time.
Yes. I liked that too. Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting. Nicole, to your point about having people who are in the direct support professional role for 35 years, part of the reason that I think that that's just incredible is very often what we see is those direct support professionals who are just good. They get it. They're passionate, get promoted out of the DSP role and don't stay in that role. And then you lose that at that level. So I think it's incredible that your organization has found a way to support and acknowledge and,
I agree.
Really just help people stay in a role that long and be so good at it. So that's really commendable.
That's an excellent shout out right there of how wonderful that is.
Yeah.
And I can't speak enough for the staff that work with our DSP staff, whatever we call them. They are an amazing group of people. I'm honored to work with them and to say that they are part of our community.
Yep.
What she said.
Yep. Hear, hear.
Well, thank you guys for being with us today. I appreciate you guys sharing all of these messages, and I'd, love to come back and talk about other things. And really, as an organization, I'd love to partner with you guys to tackle some of the advocacy around really giving DSP the credence.
We're here for it.
What they deserve. So, more to come on that. So if you would like to learn more about PWSA and the residential providers who are supporting people with PWS, take a look at our website. There is a residential directory with links to each of the organizations being represented today on our website. You can learn some more about them.
Thank you to all of the DSPs, vocational assistants, and everybody out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of PWS United. If you want to learn more about Prader-Willi syndrome and how PWSA USA is making strides in advocacy, family support, and research, visit www.pwsausa.org. And while you're there, we encourage you to sign up for our Pulse email newsletter to stay informed about the latest news, resources, and events. Don't forget to subscribe to the PWS United podcast so you never miss an episode. Our team is always available to support families and their loved ones living with PWS 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. You can call us at 941-312-0400 or email info@pwsausa.org. Catch a new episode next Tuesday, and until then, have a great week.